Okay, we're back again to Mr. Abbott's math videos. We're still with Learning Guide 3. We're on part 3 and of the polynomial functions. And we're going to look at dividing polynomial functions. And we're going to divide by binomials, so two terms. All right, so let's look at some examples here. So the first thing we have is we have the polynomial. There's the polynomial. And this is the divisor. So we say this is like p of x, the polynomial, and this is the divisor. So there's two ways to do it, long division and synthetic division. So I'm going to show you both ways, and then throughout the learning guide, throughout this work, you can choose which method you want. Okay, long division. So the first thing, we take the divisor, x plus 2, do our long division sign, like we did in grade 5, 2x cubed plus x squared minus 5x plus 4. All right, so now the object is to get rid of this guy right here. So we have to think, what do we multiply x by to get to 2x cubed? Well, it's going to be 2x squared. Now watch how I line things up. See this and this line up? See the 2's with the 2's? So you want to line those guys up. So now what you do is we are going to take this guy right here and go 2x squared times this guy here. And it gets us 2x cubed. That's important, they match up. Then we take this guy here, this 2x squared, and we multiply by 2. So we get 4x squared. We draw our line. Now we're going to subtract, because remember long division we subtract. So I'm putting a bracket because it's very important. And when you have a bracket, this goes in as a minus, and this goes in as a minus. So I'll make it a little darker, minus, and this becomes a minus. Okay, so the key thing here is these guys have to cancel, which they do. Now here we have 1x squared, take away 4, so we have negative 3x squared. This just carries down, so minus 5x. Now we say to ourselves, what do we multiply this x by here to get to that? So it's minus 3x. See, it's lined up, this x and this x, they're right on top of each other. So keep things in line, very important. Now we multiply back. Well, this times this is minus 3x squared. We got it matching, which is good. This times this is minus 6x. Okay. Now remember, you are subtracting, so that changes that to a plus and that to a plus. Now this is what you have to cancel out. So a negative 3x squared and positive 3x is gone. And now we have 5 and positive 6 is 1x. This guy comes down is plus 4. And now what do you multiply x by to get to x? Well, it's 1. So 1 times x is 1x. 1 times 2 is 2. Draw your line, remember subtracting, so that's a minus, that's a minus. And now this is gone, so what you want. And we have 2, because 4 take away 2 is 2. So the answer is 2x squared minus 3x plus 1, and the remainder is 2. Okay, so let's try synthetic now. Most people like synthetic, they prefer that. So synthetic, because we draw the big synthetic L, and then we put in the numbers. So we're only taking the coefficients. Remember the coefficients. So here we have a 2. Leave space here. You want to leave space right here. We have a 1, so plus 1. And we have a -5, and we have a 4. Then we take the opposite of the divisor. So the opposite of +2 is -2. All right, so here's the procedure now. The first thing is this 2 right here, it just comes down. So 2 goes there. Now you're going to take this guy and multiply. So you're going to multiply. And we get -2 times 2 is -4. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add these guys. All right, so we have 1 plus -4 is -3. Now we repeat this guy times that guy, and that goes up here. So we have +6. All right, and then we add, so that gets us 1. And then we repeat the same thing, we multiply, and we get -2, and then we add again right here, these guys. So we get 2. And the very last thing, this I put a box around, the last thing right here, this is your remainder. Okay, just remember that's your remainder in your synthetic. Now, what we do with this stuff left here, we look at the power. It's a power of 3, so it just loses 1 power. So it becomes 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 remainder 2. So you can see they're the same. Just 2 ways you can do it. All right, so let's look at the remainder theorem. Now the theorem is just very similar to what we just done, but it's just put into a form that's just more technical and more mathy. So this is what we're trying to get. Okay, just remember that the Q here is the quotient. And the quotient is just the answer to a division question. And remember, the R is the remainder. And this is your divisor. Divisor. Okay, so let's just look at this first example. All right, so I'm going to use synthetic, and I just prefer it. So here we go. So let's draw the big L. All right, now put the coefficients. So we have to check to make sure it's in order here. So really big star here with synthetic. Must be in descending order. Descending order. So let's just look at this. This is not in order. So I'm going to rewrite it as 5x cubed. Then we have negative 13x squared. Then it's positive 10x. Then it's minus 9. So now I can actually do the question. And another thing you have to check is make sure it goes 3, 2, 1. See, 3, 2, 1 constant. So everything's good. So now it's going to be a 5, a negative 13, a 10. I can put plus 10, and a minus 9. Now the divisor, right here, there's the divisor. divisor. We take the opposite, so it's going to be a 2. Okay, so here we go. Drop times add times add times and remainder. All right, so now let's put it into this form up here we've got. So we have 5x, remember it's going to be 1 power less squared minus 3x plus 4 minus 1 all over the divisor x minus 2. So there is the answer. So that is the remainder theorem. Now, just before we say finish and go on, it's now asking us to do a restriction. And remember, restriction comes from the bottom. So we're looking at the divisor. So if I have over here x minus 2 on the bottom, right? I know x cannot equal 2. Because if I put a 2 into here, 2 take away 2 is 0, and we have a problem. We can't divide by 0. So that's your restriction. All right, so I'll give you a few minutes. You try this one, and I'll put the answer up. All right, so we have, let's see, 4, 3, 2, 1. So everything's good. So 1, negative 2, 1, negative 3, 4. Opposite. So we have positive 1. Okay, we drop this guy down. We multiply 1. We add negative 1. We multiply negative 1. We get 0. Multiply 0. Add that up, negative 3. Multiply negative 3. And we get a remainder of 1. Remember, we're starting off at power of 4 there, so I know we start off x cubed minus x squared, nothing there, minus 3 plus 1 all over the divisor x minus 1, and x cannot equal 1, because we're looking at this guy here, right, to get that guy. All right, so there's some more here to practice, and I just want to go through this guy here, this watch out. Right here you have to watch out. Now, the reason you watch out is because if you look at it, it's 4, 3, there's no x squared, see? There's no x squared. So you must put zeros in to get it right. So I would rewrite this as x to the power of 4 plus 2x cubed plus 0x squared minus 6x plus 1. Okay? So now I can do my synthetic. So I do my L, a 1, a 2, a 0, a negative 6, a 1. And the opposite of that is 1. We drop. We times, we add, we times, we add, we times, and get negative 2. And remember, this guy is 1 less than that guy. So it's x cubed plus 3x squared plus 3x minus 3 minus 2 over x minus 1, and x cannot equal 1.